Welcome back to SFCraft for SFCraft episode 7. In this episode, we are finally going to get started on the main building, and we are also going to build some farms inside of that building. So first, we finally need to put some Silk Touch and Efficiency 5 on our shovel. So I have a lot of books here that we need to combine. So I'll try to find which way costs the least amount of levels, but we're going to have to combine a lot of these books together to get up to Efficiency 5. And that should be good. So let's put that on the shovel. And there we go. Silk Touch and Efficiency 5. So this thing is now maxed out, and we are going to need to put netherite on it soon, but for now that is pretty good. So now it is time to finally start working on the main building. So as you can see, I have lined up cyan terracotta around this part of the main building, and still need to fix that creeper explosion. But basically this is where it's going to go, as I showed partially in last episode with the new building in the back, and unfortunately our chest wall needs to go. But basically where this wall is, or was now, is going to be cyan terracotta, and this whole area will be where the main building is going to be. And I have placed blocks around the entire area, so now you can really see how big this is going to be, and it's going to come all the way down to here and right up against this building. So that is why that building doesn't have a back. Pretty sure I said that before, but that's because this main building here is going to be right up against it, and it will also be right up against the statue of King F. And this here will be how you get between them because of the melon farm here, but you'll be able to access the melon farm from either side. So now I think I'm going to build up the walls of this just a little bit higher so that it will be to where the windows will eventually be. And I'm also going to change the floor so that it's white concrete and not grass. And the floor is now complete and white concrete. So now this is definitely starting to look like a building. And as you can see, there will be plenty of room just on one floor alone to put a lot of farms. And I built up the walls so that it is where the windows will eventually go on top of. And right here where the steps are, that's not completed yet because I don't have that much quartz. But I will eventually get enough to complete that. But I think we are now ready to start building these walls up a little bit higher so we can start working on farms. So I tested a few different window designs, and I think this one looks the best. It's basically just a copy of the windows on Trump Tower in the gaming district. So I think this is going to look pretty good. I still have to make the other ones just to make sure, but I think we're going to do that now, finish this side, and then if it looks good, then we'll be ready to go into a time lapse and finish the other 3 walls. The first wall is complete, and I think it looks pretty good. I think these windows were the best way to go out of the ones that I tried out. And from the inside it looks like this, and I don't think they'll get in the way of any farms or anything because there's so much room, even though they stick out 1 block. So I think we are ready to go into a time lapse and bring up the rest of the walls for the first floor. So we are back from that time lapse, and as you can see, it is now complete. And we'll just fly over here. This is the side that I did before. But all 4 sides are completed. And there are 2 windows on the back and 2 windows on the front because of the 2 different buildings that would block the windows that would normally be there. So this is looking pretty good. And now we can start working on some of the farms on the inside. But first we need to check to see if we sold any books. Now that I have added Unbreaking 3 to the bookstore. And we haven't sold any of those yet, but we probably sold some other books. No Mending, it looks like. Yeah, we sold a Silk Touch. And that might be it. I thought the Unbreaking would have sold right away, but I'm sure eventually people will notice that it's here and buy some of it. So first, before we can really start working on farms, we need to finish the quartz stairs. And I have been getting the quartz from this villager here. And that should be enough. And as you can see here, the rest of the stairs are complete except for those last 8. So let's turn these into stairs. And there we go, the entire first floor is complete, except for the farms obviously, and the ceiling, which will be added after the farms. So I think the first farm we're going to make is going to be over here, and that is going to be a bamboo farm. And we will also have a kelp farm, a pumpkin farm, and some other things on this floor too, before we start working on the second floor. And over here in that area will most likely be where the elevators are going to go up to the other floors. So as you can see, I've set up a hopper minecart rail here for the bamboo farm. And so far it's not really doing anything, but we are going to soon build that. And I've also moved Forbes shulker boxes over here. But I think we are ready to go into a time lapse and finish this farm. So we are back from that time lapse, and the bamboo farm is complete. And as you can see, it is already producing a lot of bamboo. So there is some space behind it, which is how these farms are pretty much going to be because of the windows, and that is fine. That's actually good because now you can easily walk behind them. But now we will pretty much have infinite bamboo, and eventually, hopefully, we can sell some of that. So the next farm we are going to be working on is the kelp farm, which will be over here somewhere. And I think I'm going to start getting some supplies for that, and then we will be ready to start working on it. So apparently we've pretty much run out of books, so I'm not sure how that is possible. So I'm thinking someone must have bought out the whole shop or something, so let's take a look. Sold a lot in there. It's 3 books, I think, and a little bit more, and we sold one of these. Wow. That's basically all of the books in that barrel. This is like what someone really did buy all the books pretty much. I'm already going to need to craft these or I'm going to run out of inventory space. So that's going to be 34 blocks. And there's more in this barrel here. And 3 of these sold. Wow. The armor enchantments don't usually sell that well. And now we have 50 emerald blocks. And 2 of the expensive Unbreaking 3 books sold. So that is also really good. 2 more stacks of emeralds and 50 emeralds in here, so that's 2 books. And 1 of these. And none of the cheap ones. The cheap ones don't usually sell that well because they're not that worth it. No mending, surprisingly. And a Silk Touch book, as always. Pretty much every time I check this, one of those is sold and none in that barrel. So let's make some more blocks and count exactly how many this is, because with these emeralds, 64 and 9. So let's add these to the rest of the emeralds. And we are already getting close to having enough for a beacon. Just a few more emerald blocks and we'll be there. So because I'm almost at the point where I have enough emeralds to make a beacon, we are going to be collecting a lot of stone with that beacon, and we are going to need to smelt that stone because I'm going to need it for the base. So here's the outline for a kelp farm. I have a furnace and a chest here, and basically the kelp is going to be growing right here, and this should produce a lot of kelp that we can use to smelt up any resource that we'll need with a much better super smelter right next to it. So I think we are ready to go into a time lapse and start working on it. So we are back from that time lapse, and as you can see, we already have kelp coming into the furnace and smelting, and we have 6 dried kelp already, and this thing is probably going to produce a lot of kelp for us, and we can use that to smelt anything that we need to smelt. So this is looking pretty good, and these farms are as well. And I had to actually move the bamboo farm over a block because it wasn't even, but everything is good now. And we already have enough to make one dried kelp block. But I think that is going to be it for this episode of SF Craft. Thanks for watching this episode of SF Craft. So in this episode, we finally got to start working on the main building, as you can see behind me. We also almost sold out of books at the bookstore, and we built 2 new farms, a bamboo farm and a kelp farm. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in episode 7.